Most of us feed the birds. We've got lots of variety of birds here. We have javelina, coyotes, bobcats. We've had a lot of eagles and owls and desert cottontails. So there's a lot of food for the food chain.
Listening to Trudy Shoemaker, you'd think she lives in a remote desert area, but her neighborhood is just 7 minutes from a valley freeway. One look at Trudy's security camera video confirms a lot of wildlife activity going on right outside her front door. But sometimes all that wildlife so close can be a little unnerving. Just ask Trudy's neighbor, Amy Schlafer.
I had no idea they would be as aggressive or as persistent with chasing me. That was completely unexpected.
Amy and her dog were caught on Trudy's security camera being chased by several javelina.
I thought they would stop chasing me, but then all of them started chasing me, and I had to sprint all the way back down the cul-de-sac to my house. Thank goodness I'd left the gate to our patio open, because as soon as I hit that gate, I slammed it behind me, and the javelina came right up to the gate and only stopped because the gate was closed.
Come on, buddy. Let's go back.
John Booth and his dog Tucker live in a suburb just north of Tucson, and they've had some close encounters with wildlife too.
I was inside about 9:30 a.m. reading the newspaper, and I just heard him yelping. We were in the habit of just letting him run around the front yard, and in the mornings he loves to do that. And I came running out searching for the sound. I ended up down here against the fence and was screaming Tucker the whole time. And he emerged from the wash bloodied. It was confirmed it was a coyote due to some bite marks, 16 wounds, 2 months of healing, and now he's as happy as ever. But we dodged a bullet that day.
Amy and John were lucky. Sometimes neighborhood animal encounters don't end so well.
We've seen coyotes in the street, but never in our yard, never on our fence. We just never knew that a coyote could jump a fence that high.
4 years ago, Kathy Priester's 2 small dogs were attacked right in their own fenced yard. Her dog Maggie was killed, but Maggie's sibling Corey survived.
We feel tremendous guilt over what happened to our dogs. I think that we felt that they were safe in our yard, and I feel like we just offered them up on a platter to a hungry coyote. They were out without supervision, and I feel a lot of guilt that Maggie died.
Animals choose an area because there's available food sources. If they start to become dependent on us, on humans for a food source, they start to become what we call habituated, and they start to kind of hang around a lot more. And as they become habituated, they start to become a little bit more pushy, or a lot of times people say, well, aggressive, but they just become more bold. They don't run away. They start to lose their fear of us.
Arizona Game and Fish urban wildlife specialist Darren Julian says coexisting peacefully with wildlife means setting boundaries for them.
If these animals are coming into your yard and they're getting a reward and there's no risk for doing so, they're going to keep coming and they're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So we want to change that dynamic, increase the risk for them being there and reduce the reward.
If you want to avoid having wildlife stray into your yard, you can start by securing your trash containers. Store them in a garage or in a shed, and try putting them out the day of trash pickup, and avoid having them out overnight.
Always keep an eye on your small pets when they're outside. It's important to watch them. If you feed them outside, make sure you're also picking up after them and never leave food out for wildlife.
Cleaning up things that, that are on the ground or available, unnatural food sources especially. But, if your plants are dropping seeds or nuts and fruit, those kinds of things, clean those up as best you can, but be active at discouraging them. And there's methods we can use for hazing animals, whether it's picking up a handful of rocks and peppering them to chase them off. Again, using pepper spray if it's close. But we have had really good success with using, household ammonia, 10 to 20% household ammonia, but using one of these high-powered squirt guns like a super soaker, for example. You can shoot 30, 40 feet. You can sit on your porch and stuff, though. You got animals coming up that, be active and discourage them. And the other part of it, though, too, is work with your neighbors. The more people doing these things, the better off everyone's going to be, including wildlife.
So we've got some advice for dealing with wildlife at home, but what about when we're out walking or hiking? We've all seen the headlines: coyotes, javelinas, mountain lions, and bears chasing and attacking walkers and pets, runners and campers.
Darren, what should people do to kind of prevent some of those attacks from happening? Are there certain animals that have stalking behavior?
So the biggest thing is you want to make yourself appear large and stuff, though. If, wave your hands. You want to talk in low, loud tones. Ha, 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 get out of here. Don't, high-pitched screaming can invoke another predatory response like wounded prey. So you don't want to, scream, high-pitched screaming, things like this.
Darren says a lot of coexisting with wildlife comes down to common sense and always being aware of your surroundings.
Don't trust your yard. Make it an unpleasant place for a coyote. Make them not want to come to your house.
There's not a lot of places where you have this much open land right smack dab in the middle of town. So I really feel like it's such a benefit to have it, that dealing with having some, non-domesticated wildlife is just sort of part of the deal. And so it's up to us to adjust to them, I think.
If you're going to move into a place where you're surrounded by wildlife and green space, know that you have a responsibility, that you're sharing that space with a lot of creatures. And if that's troublesome to you, you've picked the wrong place, because they're going to be here and they're going to do what they do. So you have to mitigate what you're going to do. But if you get to that point where you understand that, it's just a beautiful place to live.